Welcome back. So much said about anti-corruption, but in the meantime, we are being joined with our guest right here in the studio in person of Engineer Martin ONOVO. He was the 2015 presidential candidate of the NCP, that's the National Conscience Party, and of course in 2011 he was also the presidential candidate of the AA. It's good to have you in the studio. Very good morning to you, Engineer Martin ONOVO.
Good morning. I'm happy to be here.
I'm also joined with Alexa Wilcox, a political analyst. It's still nice to have you with us in the studio.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so I'll start with Engineer Martin ONOVO. Engineer Martins, we're talking about anti-graft, the war against corruption, particular emphasis on looted and stolen funds. The first question I want to ask you is, you contested for presidency in 2015. Yes. If you were president of Nigeria against all odds, you're president now, would you have been comfortable with the way the present administration is running the race on anti-corruption and anti-graft?
No. We must make sure that our foundation is right. We must make sure that our first steps are right. Because those are your most important steps. Subsequent steps will follow your foundation or your first steps. But once you're wrong with the first step, unless you do a complete correction, you will continue to be wrong. I do not think it's appropriate to corrupt even legal principles because you want to fight corruption. That's even a more dangerous dimension of corruption. Because don't forget, the EFCC, what is it? It's Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. It's a law enforcement agency. Yeah. The foundation is the law. You build on that foundation. You don't destroy the law. And that's why you see the late Gani Fahimi, who was the lead founder of the National Conscience Party, if you will remember him for anything, you will remember him for insisting on the rule of law. And all over the world, in every leadership institution, the difference between a human society and an animal society is laws. So you must accept the rule of law. And that is the only way you can actually fight corruption. Now, what specific things do I think are wrong with the current methods? The first thing, if you see the Lady of Justice, the symbol of justice, that lady with the two skills, she's blindfolded. These things have meanings. It means that she is not going to favor you because you're the presenter. She doesn't see that you're the presenter. That's why she's blindfolded, so that she can be fair. So, law and justice require that you are fair. If you become selective, nobody should talk in this studio. I talk, you keep quiet. She talks, you keep quiet. Mr. Wilcox talks, you then shout, the law says nobody should talk. Mr. Wilcox, you have to face the sanctions. That's not just. That's not fair. You are corrupting the law itself. And you are corrupting law enforcement. And there are specific instances. The APC gubernatorial candidate for the Bayelsa election was in court, charged by EFCC for 2.545 billion naira fraud. Just before he became APC candidate, that charge was either withdrawn or mismanaged. And then he became APC candidate. The APC candidate for Kogi State, the late APC candidate, had the same issue, had been charged to court by EFCC. And that either got mismanaged or withdrawn, and he became APC candidate. Now, current APC senator for Kaduna Central, who is Sheikh Husani, has said publicly that the APC is not fighting corruption, that they are playing politics. He's a member of the APC and serving APC senator. So you can't say I'm saying this because I'm in a different party. I'm saying it because it is true.
Sorry, Engineer Martin ONOVO.
Yes.
Alexa Wilcox, too. If you're looking at the international scenario, the international communities, for instance, a few persons from Nigeria, especially in the judiciary, have actually laid allegations and claims that there are issues with the judiciary, and so many persons have attested to the fact that there are issues. But if you're looking at the international communities, they are actually thinking, I wouldn't want to use the word blindfolded or propaganda, as so many persons would say, but they are of the belief that the war against anti-corruption and the anti-graft fight is actually in the right proportion. We're doing it the best way we can. For instance, I'm making reference to the Dubai issue. The The president was in the United Arab Emirates. He just signed the treaties and agreements for, we all know how it went. And the issues that were raised up were particularly about the judicial process. So there seems to be a mix-up in the divide. Let me go to Alexa. If you're looking at it from both point of views, what would be your comment? Thank you very much. I want to commend the erudite engineer of ONOVO for his positions. He's held this position in all fora, so I think he's consistent with them. But I will say from my own perspective, the war on corruption is going well and need to be invigorated. I think at this point, I would wish that everybody that loves this country, and I know Engineer ONOVO does, and many other persons too, should not look at the yes, laws are good. Yes, I agree, but we should not start finding fault with the shadows, but rather we should look at the substance of the issues. Can this war be better fought? Yes. Is there the capacity to fight this war? Yes. Is there the will to fight this war? Yes. Because if anything this government campaign on, I mean, in everything that the president talked about, just talked about only 4 things: fight corruption, recover. In fact, fight corruption was given. He also talked about the economy too. Then security and then the economy. Now, so engineer made a lot of cases which I don't know how they are. It's just that the EFCC, since it was established, has never, apart from Alamesia, late Alamesia, and Tafa Balogun, has not convicted any high-profile person. All the cases they have, like he mentioned some, they have been bungled. The case of what they call him, Faneka Ede was struck away. Ibori 179 cancer was struck away in this country. Former speaker, what's his name? His case was thrown away. So every of these cases, because of then it was not this government, it was PDP government. It was not this government. So every of those cases, no one is even now. They are reopening. Akome is in court. Naman is in court. All this Okalo is being in court. Daria is in court. It's even now that they are reopening Daria's case. We've had issues of bungled cases, which never started from this administration. Sorry, Norma, please. I still need to get your opinion on the international communities, the perceived impression of the international community on the fight for anti-corruption and the issues within Nigeria's judiciary. I'd like to get your impression of that.
I think you have to be very extremely careful with the international community, because if you know Professor Bolaji Akinyebu's definition of diplomacy, he says it's how to tell you to go to hell in such a nice way that you would like to go to hell. So the language of the international community is very diplomatic, and normally it doesn't mean what it means on the surface. That's number one. And if you listen to the international community, you will hear very different signals. And that's part of the diplomatic management of their messages. One will say you're doing well, one will say you're not doing so well. So either way, they are right. It's either you're not doing so well or you're doing so well. So they say this and they say that. So because I've had also very critical opinions from the international community about the anti-corruption war. But let us go to what is right.
Okay, the foundation.
Yes, that's critical. It's not about what is popular. It's about what's right. Because only what's right that's sustainable. You are a law enforcement agency. Without the law, you have no authority. EFCC cannot touch me without the law. It's the law that allows the EFCC to even investigate me or prosecute me. So you don't destroy the law itself. And you remember when everybody was EFCC chairman, he used to emphasize nobody is above the law. Nobody is above the law, includes the federal government of Nigeria.
So do you think in the fight against this corruption, do you think the judiciary has failed well, or the federal government has failed well, not obeying the rule of court law orders, yes, not to release these people, these suspected looters?
That's only one incident. I also wanted to refer to it. But there are so many incidents, you see, and actions speak louder than words. If I ask those who are defending these malfeasance, what is your criterion? Is it for fighting corruption? Is it an anti-opposition thing? Now, they talk about the immediate past government. The immediate past government was a PDP government. What is the difference between PDP and APC? Even in membership, the APC Senate president was a PDP two-time governor.
Maybe the ideologists.
PDP and APC. So the ideology of Saraki is different from the ideology of Saraki. These are the same characters. Now, and if you see the people who are being aggressively pursued in this anti-corruption war, you will see that all of them belong to one side. That's my point. And that's why I started with the lady of justice is blindfolded. But in Nigeria, they would like to remove the blindfold. And once you remove the blindfold, you have corrupted the system.
Okay. The President Buhari has launched a different investigation to recover looted funds. How much has he fed in this investigation, or maybe bringing back these looted funds?
Well, the first thing is that we have official reports that money has been returned. Unfortunately, if you are fighting corruption, the first thing is that you must have the moral authority.
To fight corruption.
To fight corruption. We have not been told. Don't forget, we are the sovereign according to the Constitution. It is the Nigerian people that are the sovereign. It is not the president that is the sovereign. We are the sovereign. The president is our employee. When I was contesting for president, I was applying to the Nigerian people to give me a job. That's what it is. And they could have given me that job if they had voted for me and defended their votes. Then they would have given me the job. I become their employee. I am not their master. But we still have this mentality, hangover, coming from military dictatorship, where the ruler is the master, especially since he's a former commander-in-chief. So we remember the military days of dictatorship, and we think it's okay. But it's not okay. Because when you will know that injustice is not good, is when you suffer it. It's easy to say, oh, Dasuki is a thief. You haven't heard from him. There is a principle of common law which is practiced in Nigeria. Hear from the other party. And there are inconsistencies in the government's position. Did Dasuki share money? I suspect he shared money. So because I suspect he shared money, must we visit him with jungle justice or mob mentality? I don't think so. We should convict him properly. Like I said before, Madoff was supposed to have stolen 152 billion US dollars, not naira. What did they do? They investigated Madoff thoroughly. When he was confronted with the evidence, Madoff collapsed. The evidence collapsed him.
So you mean we don't have thorough investigations on these issues?
That's only part of it. I don't want you to isolate one factor in a multi-factor phenomenon. I'm saying the first thing is the leadership. Okay. Is the political leadership sincere about fighting corruption, or is the political leadership creating Nollywood movies to distract Nigerians from the real issues?
Okay, sorry, Engineer Martin Sunuvo, let me quickly make this point. Alex,
you didn't let me finish with this.
Okay.
But that's okay. But this is fundamental. It's fundamental. What are you trying to achieve?
Okay.
Are you trying to distract the Nigerian people with Nollywood movies?
Okay, I quickly need to state this.
Are you?
I wouldn't say there's like a debate, but there are different schools of thought.
No, but I must say, you let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me finish. I said, are you trying to distract Nigerians from the real issues with a Nollywood movie? Or are you trying to persecute your political opponents, especially the one who is said to have arrested you during the military coup? What are you trying to achieve? Or are you really trying to fight corruption? If you're trying to fight corruption, you went to the US and asked for assistance. And they say, excellent. We recovered almost $150 million from Halliburton. Go work on it. What work have you done? And you just focus on Dasuki. Let me tell you, if you look at the quantum of fraud, we must fight corruption if we want to develop. Don't misunderstand me. I'm saying fight it according to law. Don't fight it with lawlessness, because that's worse. Okay. We were in this country, we had the $17 billion power probe. That is not a problem. We were in this country. We had the oil subsidy, 1 trillion. That's not a problem. You just say Dasuki every day, Dasuki, every headline, Dasuki. Is Dasuki the only corrupt man in Nigeria? That's offensive to me.
I need to come in here.
That's very offensive. I don't like it. It's deceit.
I think we are not here to exchange or to cast. When you don't like a person, it doesn't solve the problem that, I mean, Engineer Martins had a political relationship with Buhari, so he had the right to feel very aggrieved. But does that represent the facts on ground? Dasuki is not the only issue being mentioned here. And who mentioned Dasuki? The press. The press will always carry story.
But Dasuki is the most
I'm coming, sir. No.
It's the most
The
prominent.
press will carry. The press will carry. The press will carry. The government ask the government hold press conference on Dasuki. The press will carry stories. And I just said it during the newspaper review.
But all the others seem to be linked to Dasuki.
Well, that is one case that is being investigated. There are cases. Look, I said it before. If you put every policeman on one case of corruption that is in this country in the last 6 years, in the last, engineer mentioned the 17 billion power probe, which the past government did not look into. A government has come, and I said before, you start from the top and be removing these things gradually. So that you don't like a man, that you contest against a man and the man gracefully lost, that there's a president does not make him insincere. There is nothing. I have not seen anything to the contrary. We must start. I'm coming, sir. I'm coming. We must start somewhere. We can't take, if you put every policeman on every corruption case, we won't have enough policemen to go around. We won't have enough court to go around. We won't have enough newspapers to carry the stories.
I understand Alex Wilcox, but then you need to think about the fact that Nigerians are very intelligent people. I mean,
yes,
one of the days where we were very redundant.
Exactly.
Now, from what people are saying, I'm not going to refer to what Engineer Martins ONOVO said. From what people are saying, the body language of the president doesn't really seem like.
There is no body. What is body language?
Let me land, please. My question. Some persons are saying that the body language of the president doesn't really portend that he's been objective with his.
What is the body language? Because he has not charged Rotimi Amechi.
I'm coming.
No, I'm coming. People are saying charge Rotimi Amechi. Charge Tinubu. That's what they're saying.
I am not even going in that light, in the sense that some persons would say we're fighting corruption and the economy is suffering. Like, we don't really have a clear-cut direction on where the economy is going. A few other persons would also say we're fighting corruption, and then some close allies of the president who are actually
indicted
to be corrupt have not been indicted.
No, but indicted by who?
Let me answer
the
that
president said it. No, the president said it.
You asked the question.
The president said it.
It's not a debate. Can I answer the
No, it's not a debate.
Ask the question.
No, it's not a debate.
Let me answer you.
The president said it, that even people around him that are found to be corrupt, and they will have their day in court.
But don't you think so much attention is given to this corruption fight?
Nobody,
and missed so
not too much attention given to the corruption fight. People are not. It is what the press is carrying and publishing.
Sorry.
Have you ever investigated what happened in Minister of Power?
Please.
Sorry.
Have you ever investigated that?
Can we get your
I need to answer his question because he has made two serious statements that are false. He says the problem is that I contested an election and didn't win. That's very unfortunate because I quoted Sheikh Sani because I've had those comments from street urchins who will not face the facts. I've had those comments. That's why I quoted Sheikh Sani. I said, those accusing us of being partisan, can they address the real issues? I just gave you the quantum of corruption in two other cases. Are we ignoring those cases?
Halliburton.
I gave Halliburton, I gave Power Probe, I gave, I remember, subsidy, oil subsidy. Those ones matter. Okay, who has accused the APC? The Lagos State government, not opposition party, the Lagos State government published very serious allegations against the Minister of Power, including using over 70 million to do a website, including using 130 million to do 2 boreholes. The sundry allegations officially published by the Lagos State government against an APC member that should not be investigated. Only opposition should be investigated. In fact, I've also heard the argument that when the opposition comes to power, they should investigate the APC. What type of silly argument is that? Is that a fight against corruption? Is that a witch hunt? When it's only the corrupt cases of your opponent. We're not saying the people are not corrupt. If they are corrupt, let them have their day in court and get convicted. But we're also saying that if anyone else is corrupt, he also needs to have his day in court.
Okay, meaning that he should also look inwards.
Exactly. And that's where you start when you want to fight corruption. Let me give you the best example. When Malaysia decided to fight corruption under Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, the first major victim was his family member. And people knew he was serious.
Yeah.
Now, what are people doing in Nigeria? You get corrupt, you join APC, you are sure you will not be charged. So is that not promoting corruption in the name of claiming that you're fighting corruption? What you need to do now is get as corrupt as you can and just join APC. Is the ruling party. And that's what Shehu Sani said. Now, my question also is, did Shehu Sani contest the election against Buhari? Is he not an APC senator for Kaduna Central? Well, you see these frivolous and senseless claims they used to dismiss serious things. And that's why Nigeria continues like this. More than 50 years, we have been moving from one misdirection to another. Because we will not face simple truth and address simple issues using common sense.
Okay, we'll take a short break now. We'll go on a very short break now. We'll be right back with the rest of the program. We still have the 2015 presidential candidates of the National Conscience Party and, of course, 2011 presidential candidates of the AA Party. And, of course, we still have Alex Wilcox right here with us in the studio. We're analyzing issues around looted funds in Nigeria and, of course, anti-GRAFT, the war against anti-corruption. We'll be right back after this break.
Welcome back. It's still AM Chat, and we are still on to the discussion segment. And with us in the studio, we still have Lester Wilcox, a political analyst, and also Engineer Martins ONOVO. Thanks for still staying tuned.
Thank you.
Engineer Novo, repatriated funds stand the risks of still being embezzled, again, making corruption a vicious circle. And that's the statement made by Security Director in Africa, Ben Oguntana. What's your position on that? Repatriated funds still being looted again?
You see, critically, once you have the leadership right, almost everything else falls in place. Because whatever you need to do is as dictated by the leadership. It's the leadership that shows direction. It's the leadership that has supervisory authority. It's the leadership that assesses performance. So, because of that, once you have the leadership right, if the funds are repatriated, due process. Where do the funds belong? Federation account, it goes there. If it goes there, you can't go and withdraw it. She can't go and withdraw it. My brother Wilcox will not go and withdraw it. I can't withdraw it. So coming out of there also, due process. So everything works right. But once you have the leadership wrong, then they start to deliberately pervert the process. If you see federal financial regulations, it's this thick. In fact, even if you wanted to spend government money in the most holy manner, it will be very difficult even to spend government money if you follow the federal financial regulation. It's this thick. And yet, we hear how money just moves because the leadership is critical.
So
and
why
the
do you really find it difficult to implement these things in Nigeria?
I don't think it's difficult to implement in Nigeria. It's that leadership that perverts it. It's the steward who has the authority to manage the process that perverts it. It's just the concept of a rogue cop in the US. A rogue cop. Okay. If he goes and rapes a girl, you go to report in the station, he's the one sitting at the station. Okay. You want to report him that he raped a girl to himself. So it's a concept of a rogue cop. So once the quality of the political leadership is in question, you will have all these kind of deviations.
So fighting corruption and getting our structure right, which exactly should we be doing?
I will think that the structure in itself is basically right. Basically, it's not a perfect structure, because that's the misinterpretation you hear now. The structure is right because, for example, our constitution says presumption of innocence. Our constitution says you must not discriminate. It becomes discriminatory if you make noise and I pretend I didn't hear. She makes noise and I say she's the noisemaker, even though the noise you made was louder. It becomes discriminatory against her because I'm not treating her fairly and equally. And that's what the law guarantees, and that's the constitution of Nigeria. And when you begin to deviate from that, that is more than financial corruption, that's worse. And that is why we're talking about the foundation, the fundamentals, the basic.
Okay, well, we're gradually closing up on this segment. Alexa Wilcox, I'd like to get your impression on this, the transparency process. If we're talking about recovering these looted funds, finally, let's say everything goes well as planned, we're able to recover all of these looted funds. Would you rather have the process of recovering these funds transparent to the Nigerian public? What these funds actually meant for transparent to the Nigerian public? What are your comments on that?
Even the figures.
We have had funds recovered throughout the last administration, up to the time that, up to one of the issues that have been raised today being the fact that some of the deleted funds were, well, for me, could we just give this government a little bit of breadth of doubt or chance to prove how bad they could be or how good they could be? I think, is it too early in the day to start raising all the cards that we are raising? For me, I think it is. Because an 8-month government that met a very dilapidated economy, dilapidated structure, most of the infrastructures are dilapidated, most of the governance structures are dilapidated, government is personalized at all levels, and a government is just coming to try to restore some of these issues that have been destroyed. Can we give them a little bit of chance? I think for me, the rational thing to do is yes. Now, they will make their mistakes, certainly. They are not perfect. They will make their mistakes. I remember how much mistakes Bill Clinton did that even cost the Democratic Party, the Congress, the first time in 40 years in 1992. I remember how many mistakes Obama did that really almost cost him some of his, that would have cost him his job. So every government will make their mistakes. But at the same time, a government that comes in with a purpose, sense of direction, we give them a chance. So I believe, by and large, that with the political capital I see, in this government, and most Nigerians saw. Yeah, everybody cannot be on the same page, but most Nigerians saw in the presence of the presidency, of the president, I think that things will work better. Because, like an engineer said, if the structures are right, and which I think this president is trying to do, if the money comes, it will go to the presidential account. And you can't spend without budgeting. And that is even why today it seems that the economy is slow. Because government is not spending. Government cannot spend if there is no budget appropriation. And I think that's what is happening now. Government is not spending. So economy seems to be dull. Okay? So by the time there's appropriation, any money that comes in goes to the treasury. It will not be looted. I mean, there are very ways of looting money, really. Bills made through contracts, through all this. But why the Suki Gate is so pronounced is the fact that you take money that was not budgeted out of the treasury, allegedly, out of the treasury, and spend as you like, which is the worst form of looting.
There are a couple of messages,
so these are some of the issues.
A couple of messages, excuse me, there are a couple of messages on social media, and all of these are directed to Engineer Martin Tunovo. This is particular, I'm a bit surprised that they're talking about the River State elections. They're directing the questions to you. Okay, this one is actually from Kendrick Christopher. And Kendrick Christopher is saying, I'm directing my question to Engineer Martin Tunovo.